Okay, the doorbell rang, and Daniel's heart almost leaped out of his chest. For the first time in 3 years, he was actually excited about a date. He'd shaved, put on his best shirt, the one his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, called his handsome shirt, and set the table with the fancy plates that hadn't seen daylight since his wedding anniversary long ago. But when he opened the door, his smile froze. There stood Emma, beautiful, nervous, clutching her purse like a secret she couldn't let go. And then she whispered, trembling, "My kids are outside." That was the moment everything changed, for both of them. Daniel had been a single dad for 3 years, ever since his wife, Grace, passed away from a sudden illness. He'd devoted every breath to raising Lily, working 2 jobs, and keeping their small world stable. Dating felt like a distant dream, something people did when they had time, money, and freedom. He had none of those. But Emma was different. They'd met at the community center, where she worked as a volunteer reading coach. She had warmth in her smile, and a softness that reached even the parts of Daniel that had forgotten how to feel. They'd talked for weeks. Texted every night. Shared stories about their kids, their hopes, and the loneliness that came from trying to be both mom and dad at once. Tonight was supposed to be their first real date. Just dinner. Just a chance to breathe and be 2 adults for once, not tired parents hiding behind bedtime routines and bills. But as Emma stood there, eyes wide and full of guilt, Daniel realized this night wasn't going as planned. "My kids are outside," she whispered again. "I didn't know where else to take them. Their babysitter canceled last minute." Daniel blinked, unsure whether to laugh or panic. He looked behind her, and sure enough, a minivan idled at the curb, 2 small faces pressed against the window. One little boy, maybe 6, and a girl around 10. For a moment, Daniel thought about the dinner he'd spent hours cooking. The candles. The music. The carefully chosen bottle of wine. Then he thought about Lily, asleep in her room down the hall, her favorite stuffed bunny tucked under her chin. "Bring them in," he said softly. Emma's eyes widened. "Really?" Daniel, this isn't how tonight was supposed to." "I know," he interrupted gently. "But sometimes life doesn't ask us what's supposed to happen." A few minutes later, the quiet, romantic dinner transformed into a chaotic mix of laughter, spilled juice, and toy cars racing across the living room floor. Lily woke up halfway through and joined in, instantly bonding with Emma's kids over a shared love of chocolate pudding and superhero cartoons. Daniel watched them from the kitchen, arms crossed, heart swelling in a way he didn't expect. Emma looked at him from across the room, her expression full of apology and something else, something softer. "I'm sorry," she said quietly as she helped her daughter clean up the mess. "You deserved a night for yourself. Not this circus." Daniel shook his head. "This is life. Real, messy, unpredictable. I wouldn't trade it." For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about what he'd lost. He was thinking about what he might gain. The next morning, Daniel woke up to laughter coming from the kitchen. The smell of pancakes filled the air. Emma was there, flipping breakfast while the kids giggled around the table. Lily sat beside them, proudly showing off her art book. It felt right. Too right, maybe, but as the days turned into weeks, what began as a disrupted dinner became something much deeper. They started spending weekends together, park trips, movie nights, family breakfasts. Their children grew close, and so did they. Yet beneath the laughter, Daniel sensed something in Emma's eyes, a weight she carried but never spoke of. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Daniel found her sitting alone on his porch, lost in thought. "Penny for your thoughts?" he asked. Emma sighed. "You ever feel like you're living on borrowed time?" Daniel frowned. "What do you mean?" She hesitated. "My ex, he's been trying to come back into the kids' lives. The man who walked out on us when things got hard. He says he's changed. I don't know if I can trust him. But if he pushes for custody, I might lose them." Her voice broke. Daniel's heart ached. He reached out, covering her trembling hand. "You're not alone anymore, Emma. Not in this." She looked up at him then, tears catching the fading light. "And you? Are you sure you're ready for all this chaos again?" He smiled, the kind of smile that carried years of pain and healing. "I think chaos is exactly what I need." Weeks later, a knock echoed on Daniel's door again, just like the first night. But this time, Emma wasn't nervous. Her kids ran ahead of her, laughing as they burst into the living room to play with Lily. Daniel opened the door fully, his eyes meeting hers. "So," he said softly, "you still have your kids outside?" Emma laughed, her eyes glistening. "No," she whispered, stepping closer. "Now, they're home." The two stood there in the doorway for a moment that felt like forever, two broken souls who had finally found the missing pieces they didn't even know they were searching for, and as their children's laughter echoed through the small house, Daniel realized the truth he'd been waiting to hear his whole life: love doesn't arrive when everything is perfect. It shows up at your door, with kids in tow, chaos in hand, and a whisper that changes everything, because sometimes, the best beginnings start when you least expect them. Would you like me to create 7 story-based image prompts, scene by scene, and YouTube description plus hashtags for this next?